to Jubilee Veda Maha Vidyalaya's live panel discussion online. And my name is Alvin, and I am hoping to host and anchor the live panel discussion. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm really glad that you could all meet here today. It's been a crazy time we are going through. So, from this awesome panel together, we are going to discuss about the pros and cons of replacing normal Sunday school classes with virtual classes. So, before all that, let me introduce you to the panelists. Starting from the proposing side, I would like to welcome the senior most Febin John. And Febin John has been the alumni member of Jubilee Veda Maha Vidyalaya. Thank you, Febin, for joining with us today.
Welcome, Alan.
And next, I would like to introduce to Mr. Rayan Biji. Rayan is the Jubilee Veda Maha Vidyalaya secretary. And thank you, Rayan, for joining with us today.
Welcome, Alan.
Now, from the opposing side, we have the gorgeous Rachel Susan. And how are you, Rachel?
I'm fine, Alvin.
Rachel is a child psychologist by profession who has a PhD and passed out from the renowned Harvard University. And thank you, Rachel, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have the second opposing panelist as well as the youngest panelist, Master Arshif Binu. He is the student council member for the year 2020-2021. How are you, Arshif?
I'm fine, Alan. Thank you.
I really appreciate everybody for rearranging your schedule to join with us today. So let's jump right into the topic, the advantages and disadvantages of replacing normal Sunday school classes with virtual classes. Asking to the proposing side, is this a viable option to replace normal Sunday school classes with virtual classes? Should we really turn to this? I would like to turn to Mr. Febin John so that you could discuss with the group on replacing normal Sunday school classes with virtual classes.
Okay, thank you, Alvin, for giving this opportunity. So before beginning, we should take a moment and pray in silence for all those who are suffering due to COVID-19 pandemic, and all those who are working hard for us in order to make or protect us. And so coming back to our topic, one of the most debated topics today in our society is virtual classes, whether to replace the traditional conventional method of teaching to virtual classes. The same is applicable in Sunday school too. So let's first and foremost, there are various reasons why we prefer virtual classes over the normal Sunday school classes. The first and foremost, me being a parent, we would be able to learn along with our students, along with our children, and imbibe the knowledge about our church, of the God of Word of God, and like sitting with our simultaneously. We could supervise our children, and we can also learn something from our Sunday school, which would not have been possible in regular Sunday school classes. I think this is the major advantage of virtual classes over the normal Sunday school classes.
Okay, now I would like to turn to Rachel Susan to discuss why you would oppose virtual classes.
I would oppose virtual classes. First of all, there are so many points that I would like to put forward, but few points, let me make it very brief. First one is there is no personal contact. Sometimes the children are asked to switch off their video. The teacher is not having a connection. The teacher is unable to interact with the students. There is a barrier, and students are not able to, properly convey. They're not, sometimes students may not understand. It's like the teacher is explaining, but the teacher doesn't know if the child is understanding. There's no relationship. There's no facial expressions. And second thing I would like to say is children are like sitting for a very long time. It can cause a lot of troubles in their health issues, and they are seeing through a technological device which has blue rays which can affect the child's eyes. There's many more points that I would like to put forward, but that's for all today.
I would like to ask a question to Mr. Rayan. Rayan, do you think the environment as that of church or that dividedness in a group of students can be created by sitting inside the four walls of a room? Don't you think that children get distracted?
No, the students can't get distracted. See, if you want to achieve something, you would strive for it. If you want to learn something from the Sunday school, you should hard work for it wherever you are. If you're sitting in a Sunday school or you're sitting home, if you're listening to it properly, you would keep it in your mind. I mean, you could feed that in your mind. They how can they get distracted? I don't think they would get distracted. See, in a Sunday school normal class, the student is shy to ask question to the teacher. But in case of virtual class, the student could chat with the teacher and ask the doubts, and the teacher would explain the doubt of the student.
Um, with the point of what Rayan said, I would like to ask a small question. You told about big children. I believe that you told about big children. Let me ask about small children who, be it of the age from the ages of 4. For them, is it a viable option to know for sitting in front of the laptop for 1 hour or so? Like to the proposing side.
So this question can be answered, or I'm taking an example to answer this question. When my daughter, when she was 3 to 4 years, she used to spend hours sitting in front of the mobile or the laptop, okay, without taking her eyes, because she was interested in that. Likewise, if we could make our Sunday school classes more interactive and creative, and especially we can use the media technology, and by that we can instill in the hearts of our children the word of God, and they would, if they are interested, of course, they will sit for just 45 minutes. That is our Sunday school, regular Sunday school classes time.
It's clear now. Let me ask to the student council member, Harshif Binu. Harshit, don't you think that this is a blessing given by the Almighty, because you could wake up at any time, and it is not necessary for you to travel, um, um, in which you could get more time to study. So, don't you think virtual class is an advantage?
It depends on the network connection you have. As you know, especially students like me, we have daily online classes about morning 7:30. So we if we have good connection, good network connection, we can have a good class with teacher. Especially if you have low connection, you cannot have good class because there will be some background disturbance. If and especially if you have a doubt, and if you ask your teacher, you cannot ask it, but there will be some sound effect while asking to the teacher. So if you have good connection, you can have a good class.
Same. Now, to the proposing side, um, let me ask you: don't you think the children's health matters by using gadgets for a long time? No, no, because
Well, yes, I would say yes. There will be effects in our eyes. But thinking of a situation that we go for regular classes, we will be affected. Our body would be affected or may not be affected in some other reasons. Maybe, for example, while we are traveling, one of our friends or acquaintance, they are having a cold, and we might there is unfortunately we may also get a cold. So that in a way it is also affecting our health. Now, coming to this situation, that is in virtual classes, yes, eyes will be affected, but there are many reasons that with which we can protect our eyes. Then, secondly, if you go for regular classes, also there will be some not it might not be for the eyes, but for some other parts, it may be affected, or some disease we might get, and it's just a chance. So, yeah, in both the cases, diseases is unavoidable.
okay, now Rachel, let me ask you. We have a lot of students studying in high schools, and they have a lot to study. And don't you think by going to regular classes would waste a lot of time? What do you want to say about it?
I would like to say that children are being in this scenario from your younger classes till now, at whatever age you are being pushed into schools and colleges to learn about some theories or to learn about some concepts and knowledge. You're learning about knowledge, but you can learn knowledge, but to know moral values, to be a good person, to be a good human being, you have to learn moral values. Where do we get moral values? We get our moral values when we go to the Sunday school, when we learn the word of God, when we listen to our teachers, when we read the Bible, when we see the Qurbana. All these things, when we inculcate it within us, we become a good person, we become a good human being. Anyone can be very intelligent, anyone can be clever, but to become a good human being or a good person, or having a good attitude, you have to have moral values. And I would say regular classes would be better for the children to inculcate moral values, to know the word of God, because you are being, as I told you, you from your small classes you have been going to the school every day, but when you go to the Sunday school classes, it's like a different scenario, it's a different atmosphere. It's not your regular classes telling you to do this is a theory, but in Sunday school you are being taught you have to be like this person. You are taught, you're being taught about the parables Jesus told. A lot of values will be inculcated within us. So in the future, if someone tries to question us about anything about our faith, with our moral values, with what we have been taught through our Sunday school classes, we'll be able to tell that this is my faith, this is what I trust. It's not all about being clever, it's about being a good human being.
Okay, now Febin, don't you think that parents like you, uh, like your eagle vision on children, creates problem because children may find it scared or embarrassed to say answers in class? And don't you think interaction with teachers would be less in that case?
Well, my one word answer to that question is no. For that, I would like to explain in two ways. First, if you consider a parent who would be sitting with their children and would be supervising their children. So, in my case, if I say I would sit with my children and with my child, and if he or she answer the questions, I will be proud of her. So I don't think so that will be an embarrassment for the child. Then the next is next type of parents. They leave their children for they are like they do not disturb them during the classes and do not distract them. So there's no possibility that the child will be embarrassed when she answers to the questions of teachers.
Okay. Now, now to the opposing side, let me ask you. There are many teachers scattered all around the world, be it our Tirmenis and all. If they want to take a class of, for the students studying in foreign countries like us, uh, don't you think that they have to travel a lot because many may be physically ill? No, don't you think it's a time-consuming thing? Uh, don't you think virtual classes solves the problem? Harshit or Rachel, anyone can answer.
As you told Alvin, when nowadays in this situation we are unable to see the Holy Qurbana. We are seeing it through virtually. Our classes are also virtual. But when we want to have an experience, when we want to experience something, we would want to go to that place or go and see a person, understand them, see a person. People say that you would prefer to believe your eyes rather than hearing from someone else, or listening to something. You would prefer to believe things through your eyes. I mean, in science also, I would say, when you do any kind of experiments, you would only believe when it actually occurs virtually, or like when you see it visually, when you see it. So as you told, Tirmenis have to travel from longer distances, but when you want to speak to a Tirmeni who is a holy person, you want to inculcate our Christian values, Orthodox values. If you want to tell your problems, your problems that you're facing in your life, the situations that you're facing in your life, I would say that virtual classes, it's like a video. You're not able to tell the person properly. It's like a barrier. You're not, as I told you before, there's no personal contact. But if you see a Tirumeni right in front of you, you have a blessing, you have another atmosphere, another situation. You can talk to the Tirumeni, you can get the blessings from the Tirumeni, you can feel the touch, you can feel the cross. I would say that is more experiencing. Virtual class, I don't feel that Tirmenis will be much comfortable, because all the Tirmenis are, they're old age, and they would also prefer like seeing the person right in front of them. They could speak to them, tell what they wish to tell, inculcate any kind of moral values from the Bible to that person.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Now, my last question to the proposing side. Uh, in our churches, there are many financially backward family, maybe daily wage workers who cannot afford phones, etc. A case in Kerala about a 14-year-old bright child, Devika Balakrishnan, who suicide. I believe all may know about it. Don't you think that for some children like her, creates a mental disbalance by using virtual classes?
Hello. See, in case of India, the students are having a TV, and according the specific time is given for the students when their classes are going. So that does not make them to buy a smartphone or anything else.
You see, in this case, this student is studying in 9th standard. He is the same age of mine. So, what problem came here is our parents cannot afford a smartphone or a laptop. All she realized that even if the school reopens in India, she cannot cover up the portions. Ninth standard is a important class for each and every student. So she realized that she cannot catch up the portions. She cannot make her parents proud. She cannot score even good marks for the upcoming exam. So she thought only one way to suicide. So just think of a situation of her parents. Just think, and also if any one of us are like that, so what we will do? We will just be depressed of that. So just think of a situation of our parents.
Okay. Since we are at the peak of our time, it's time to conclude it. Um, Let me thank all the panelists who scheduled their time to to join with us, and thank you, Febin, Rayan, Rachel, and Harshit for spending your time here. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.